Calling the meeting to order, the regular session, Monday, November 17th, the Board of Commissioners. Madam Clerk, would you call the order, please?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Mason?
Here.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Here.
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Howard?
Here.
Commissioner Hunt?
Here.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Here.
Chairman Bucher?
Here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll stand, we will have a prayer by Attorney Grady and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
We give you thanks, O God, for giving us another day. We ask your blessing upon these county commissioners and all representatives of Craven County. Guide and protect your elected servants in government and all who work in this place. May all who visit here be treated with respect and kindness. May the comings and goings of your people be under the seal of your loving care, and all work accomplished here this day be for your greater honor and glory. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We welcome you all. If you would make sure your phones are on silent, appreciate that. Commissioners, you have the agenda in front of you. Are there any changes or deletions, additions?
Chairman. We need to add a closed session for personnel at the end of the meeting, please.
Okay. So to our agenda, we're going to add a closed session. Do I hear a motion?
So move. Second.
Motion and a second. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Mason?
Here.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Here.
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Howard?
Yay. Chair.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Chairman Bucher?
Here.
And
First item on our agenda is the consent agenda. We have the minutes from our October 20th meeting, tax releases, health, additional state funding budget amendment, and under planning, Sandy Ridge Mobile Home Park legal fees budget amendment. Do I hear a motion, please?
Motion to approve. Second.
Got a motion and a second? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Mason?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Chairman Bucher?
Yes. Second item is under departmental matters, information technology, United States Infrastructure Corporation locating services. This is a budget amendment. Steve Bennett is going to cover that with us. Morning, Steve.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board. Thank you so much for seeing me today. Craven County maintains approximately 40 miles of underground fiber optic cable connecting our various buildings and water infrastructure across the county, and these cables must routinely be located. Unfortunately, with the continued development of I-42, we have exhausted our current funds and are looking to have a budget amendment to replenish those funds.
Okay. Questions from the board? Is it your intent to permanently use the locating service, or is it still your desire to get someone on board to do that?
That is a good question. The budget amendment takes into account using USIC for the remainder of this fiscal year. It is something that we could reevaluate. We're just unsure at this moment.
Okay. One to that, Mr. Chair.
So we had every intention of, and we have brought on a locating individual for our water department. Unfortunately, with turnover within that department, particularly from the top down, we've had a slow start. We figured that Steve needed to keep locating because once the fiber's hit, it's very expensive to repair, so it's much easier to find it up front. I do believe that by the time we get to next fiscal year, we'll be ready to take on some of the burden that Steve's got in this budget amendment.
But I have a question. These funds, since it's caused by, the need is caused by the 42 State Road, at some point will they repay us that money?
No, ma'am. Unfortunately, they're not. This is the cost of doing business, having infrastructure in the ground in their right of way.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Mason?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell? Yes. Commissioner Smith? Yes. Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Chairman Bucher?
Yes.
Thank you,
Yeah. The second item is under planning, Craven County Recreational Vehicle Park Ordinance and request to set a public hearing. Chad Strawn and Donnie Lavelle.
Chad, sir, good morning.
Good morning.
So over the past few weeks, the planning staff have been working to draft an RV park ordinance. This proposed ordinance will help to address safety and environmental concerns with the proliferation of RVs, providing regulations for the orderly placement of RVs throughout the county. Donnie Lavelle, which I have with me here today, a planner too in our office, will provide a board a summary of the ordinance. Once he is finished, we'll be happy to take questions and any feedback you may have. Then we'll ask the board to set a public hearing for January 5th, 2026, so that we can receive comments from the public. Donnie, do you ready?
Morning, Donnie.
Good morning, Chairman. As you all know, my name is Donnie Lavelle, and I'm here before you all today to discuss our draft RV park regulations. RV is short for recreational vehicle, if anybody didn't know. We have a PowerPoint presentation for you. Robbie, if you can go ahead and put the first slide up here. As Chad mentioned, over the last several weeks, our office has been developing RV park regulations. These were modeled off of our mobile home park ordinance. We basically took our mobile home park ordinance, changed many of the instances of mobile home park to RVs, and then we took a little bit of inspiration from the surrounding communities and some of their regulations. Robbie. The intent of this ordinance is to improve Craven County's health and safety, and part of that is to storm and flooding resilience. RV parks in any kind of disaster are something that does create more danger to the people living there. Also, we would like to prevent nuisance and environmental health violations through the proper disposal of sanitary waste. And also, we would like to promote the orderly growth and general welfare of the county. These RV parks pop up all over the place, which makes addressing difficult. Difficulty with addressing means that 911 services have a difficulty finding these people. Also, these RV parks are run into difficulties receiving their mail. The post office sometimes will deliver mail to them and sometimes they will not. So we're hoping to improve on this by having a park office where the mail could be delivered to. So exactly what is the concept of an RV park? Our regulations will target any time there are more than 2 RVs on a single parcel of land. Once you have that occur, these parks will have increased permitting requirements, development, and maintenance standards than what is currently out there today. But to be clear, 1 RV on a single parcel of land will not be regulated under this ordinance. Meaning that if you have a single family house or a modular home or anything of that nature, and you wanted to put an RV out there for your son or your daughter or another loved one or anybody for that fact, our ordinance would not apply to that situation. Only when you would want to be adding the second RV. So let's get down to the basics of how someone would get an RV park approved. This would be very similar to our current mobile home park process. A applicant would hire a surveyor or an architect or something of that nature to design a mobile home park map, or an RV park map that would meet our requirements. It would go to our technical review committee where it would be reviewed. We would receive comments from other organizations. It would then be presented to our planning board for their approval or disapproval. After that, it would go to y'all, our Board of Commissioners, for your final approval. Before the parks would be able to commence operation, they would have to get a certificate of compliance from the county planning department. And to give you an idea, the infrastructure and design requirements are going to be similar to our mobile home park ordinance with drives, etc. And you'll see that here in just a little bit. So we get to the design. So these parks will be required to have interior drives that are hard surfaced, meaning gravel or pavement, of no less than 20 feet in width. Each RV space will be required to have 2 parking spaces. In addition, the RV park itself will have to have a guest parking area of at least 5 spaces. Again, these are hard surface, meaning gravelled or paved. Solid waste disposal will be handled at the parks, aka how they throw away their trash, through either trash cans at sites or with dumpsters, probably a mix of both. If they decide to go to the dumpster route, they will have to be screened. Another design element of these parks is lighting will be required to ensure that there's safety inside the park. Utilities will be required to be provided. These consist of septic or sewer or pump out stations. Electric and water will be required to be provided, and they will be required to have quick disconnects. Basically meaning if a storm was to come, they can easily disconnect the power and the water from these units to be able to get them out. The parks will be required to have certain amenities. These amenities consist of a mobile home park office, recreation park office, a bathhouse, and a recreation area for the park. For you on the screen here, we have a sample RV park diagram. These are these design elements in a more visual manner for us to look at. In addition to what I've already spoken, you'll see a few more requirements here. There will be setbacks with these RV parks. The setbacks will consist of 30 from the front property line, 20 from both sides, and 25 from the rear, along with a vegetative buffer in green that is around the park perimeter. And there will also be a fence required of no less than 6 feet in height, and that will be opaque. And then we get to our biggest question of grandfathering. What will happen to these existing RV parks that are already in Craven County? Well, based off our comments and discussions with our county attorney, the existing RV parks will be grandfathered, unless one or two instances occur. A, they discontinue use for up to 6 months. Once they hit that 6 months period, if they want to come back and operate again as an RV park, they will have to come through our ordinance. Or if they would add additional spaces to the park, then the park itself will have to come into compliance with our ordinance as well. So if you have a park that's got 10 spaces, hey, we want to have 30, they're going to have to come through our ordinance and now be regulated by it. So planning staff understands that a public hearing is necessary to receive public comment regarding this proposed ordinance. In preparation for that, our planning board will be reviewing this ordinance December 9th at 5:30 p.m., which is their regularly scheduled meeting. Planning staff requests that y'all, the board, please set a public hearing for January 5th, 2026. And that's all I have for y'all today. And if I would be more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions for Mr. Blobell?
Yes, sir.
How many existing RV parks are not in compliance? Can you estimate?
All of them?
All of them, yes, sir. Pretty much. There might be a few. To give you an idea, I had a appraiser contact me actually last week, talking about one that's at the edge of Turkey Quarter Creek Road. I'm not sure if you're
I know where that is. Yeah.
There's an RV park all the way in the back. We were discussing the park in general. He was asking me questions. So I took the opportunity to ask a few questions of him. Do they have a bathhouse? Do they have an office, et cetera? And it turned out that RV park actually does have an office. It does have a bathhouse. So that was actually quite surprising. So there are probably a few in the county that would comply with this. For the majority of things, could they have their 2 parking spaces hard surfaced? I don't know. We'd have to go out there and take a look.
Just for example, the KOA in Bridgeton, I would assume is in compliance, but that's a guess on my part.
That wouldn't fall under our ordinance, sir. That would be under Bridgeton's jurisdiction.
Okay.
But I would hope that something like that would be in compliance.
Any other questions?
With it, well, for clarification, because I think you just touched on this one, This ordinance does not impact RV parks that are already within municipal city limits.
That is correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. With it, the second question I have, Commissioner Mason asked how many are not in compliance, and you said all of them. Does that mean 10? Does that mean 100? Ballpark.
I would say dozens, probably.
50?
Well, we would consider anything more than 2 RVs an RV park. 50 to 100 probably.
Okay, because my concern is, the mail I get, but people have a tendency to get their own, that they can scramble to get their own mail if they have to. Emergency vehicles concerns me. The other thing that concerns me is if we have a hurricane that's going to set off tornadoes, all these things are going to be tumbling all over the place, which means they would need emergency vehicles.
Yes, ma'am.
With it. So this is really looking for future growth.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not going to do anything to address the, and perhaps can't, and I understand that, but it can't address the existing issues with existing RV parks.
Yes, ma'am. And the only time they would fall under our requirements if they discontinued use or if they wanted to expand.
Okay, so this is future oriented, not corrective now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Howard.
Define existing is my question, because if I have two RVs already parked in 5 acres of land, and I've not registered it, nothing. I've done nothing. I've just parked 2 RVs there, and people are hanging out in them. Is that an existing RV?
Yes, sir.
Parking lot. So I haven't done anything. Just parked 2 RVs, and I already have an existing lot. Okay.
Yeah, that would be my understanding.
Okay.
Chairman. It was.
Good news. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think we're speaking to a permanent parking. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What about the RVs that are people are just vacationing?
This would apply to them as well. This would be a park that they would be able to go to and set up. RVs are typically designed to be temporary in use in general, although we do know many people who try to use them as permanent living, just with the way the economy is and whatnot.
Somebody share. So we've got some mobile home parks where they moved some of the trailers at. Mobile home parks that have been permitted. And they have moved RVs into the mobile home parks.
Sweet.
Are they covered? Because it's multi-use, you've got mobile home and RVs?
So in that situation, we would go with the more stringent requirement. So would that be correct? The mobile home park ordinance would be in play in that particular situation.
Second question I got, getting back to your ordinance here for RV parks. You've got down here, they got to have a recreational area. What do you mean by a recreational area?
That is actually something that is in our mobile home park ordinance that we carried over to our RV park ordinance. It is very loosely defined. It's 8% of the square footage of the park itself. That could be picnic tables. That could be if they wanted to do some kind of ball court, trails. It could be a lot of different things. We don't really have specific details of what that has to be, other than they have to set aside a recreation area. If they put just a few picnic tables, that would suffice for us.
That will suffice.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's my understanding. Is that correct?
I think what we're trying to do is encourage folks to go to RV parks rather than setting up a bunch of RVs in your yards and everywhere else. My point would be, we don't want to make it so, put such a cost on it that it's not a reality for folks to build an RV park. We want them to be as they should be, neat and so forth. But, I think all the extras that we don't have to have, so we can encourage people to build them, we need to make sure that we take that into consideration.
Packer.
Yeah, we can make adjustments to the ordinance. We're not planning to advertise for the public hearing until December 22nd, so we can make changes up to that point in time.
I support what you're saying.
Any other questions?
I just want to say, I, for one, like the work you've done here, and I think it's going to, save a lot of headache for people that have concerns about this issue as I've talked to people from Nash County and other counties across the state about the issue we're having. It's not just us. It's an issue that's popping up everywhere where people are parking 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 RVs in a lot. They don't have proper sewage disposal. There's no area for children to go that's safe, like your little recreational area. The only thing I do like about that, even if it's just a small green space, a lot of these areas tend to have a lot of children involved. So having a small green space where kids go that it's safe doesn't, particularly if we have minimal requirements on that, even if it's just a patch of grass, creates a safe space so they're not going into a road or into a place they shouldn't be or going off property. So I do like it as long as it's the least amount of restriction to it. So
Understood.
Any others?
I think, Mr. Chairman, if we could, just so for the public to understand why it's been a concern of ours here, is number one, and you had it one of the first things you had on your presentation, is ensuring proper sanitary waste disposal.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that again, ensuring proper sanitary waste disposal. I was picking beans this week, and there's a camper I saw across the field in another farmer's field, and the lady was walking down the highway. She'd gone and got water from a church and was taking a bucket of water back to her RV. There's no running water.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening to the sewage? We know what's happening to it. And that is the concern of proper sanitary. We want folks to have a place to live. We're not trying to put people out. We want them not have to live in tents. And I think the cost of renting something now, we all take that into consideration. That's why a lot of people go to RVs. But you got to do it in the correct manner. So.
I would agree with that. And my thoughts, as we've driven around the county and done some of our tours, some of these places that are currently in existence, I question that they have proper sanitary disposal. And the other thing, that the two issues to me are sanitary and 911 service. If someone has a heart attack or there's somebody's breaking into you call 911. Where are you? I'm in a camper. That's a real problem, and this would address that.
Yes, sir.
So to me, those are the two primary issues: sanitation and safety. So
I would add a third primary issue, I think, is the road to get to you. They need to have a road that's substantial that a emergency vehicle can get into, a school bus can get into, and,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Attorney, if we have a public hearing on January 5th, would that allow us then to approve the proposal on that same meeting, at that same meeting?
Yes, sir, it would. And between now and your next meeting, I think we're going to fine tune the ordinance based on the comments today and some other thoughts we've had. So we would have basically a final or close to final product back before the board at your second meeting in December, and then that can be the version that's available for public inspection once the public notice is run in the paper.
I would encourage you, commissioners, to read through this again. And if there's anything in there that you don't think should be there, we need to move quickly and talk to Chad or Donnie and get their opinion on it. Do I have a motion to set a public hearing? A motion? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Item number 4, social services, Mr. Jeffrey Merritt.
Chairman, Commissioners, County Managers, thank you for having us today. We bring before you an amendment for funding for our START program through federal fiscal year 25-26. Before that, we have a presentation just to give you a little reminder on the START program and also where we're at with it. So I will go through this. Again, I'm not going to read every slide. We're kind of going to go do an overview. If you have questions, please just interject and I'll be happy to try to answer that. Well, this side, please, Robbie. So this is our agenda. We just want to give you the overview. I do the team members and responsibilities, the work guidelines that we'll be doing with the program, and our status with START. Next slide, please. What it is, what we said, our evidence-based programs. You can see where it's worked across the country so far. As you know, and we've said before, substance abuse is the largest reason we become involved in families, either the sole reason or one of many reasons. And also mental health, they go hand in hand for the most part in those families that we're working with. And we want to try to address that and change this. As I said, I've been here before. Doing things the same way, expecting different results is something that I'm not a big fan of. And we've been doing this in child welfare for some time. And we want to try to take a different approach and hopefully make an impact and keeping, first and foremost, children safe, and very close behind that, keeping families intact. As you see, one of the requirements is that primarily if there has to be a substance use disorder by one of the caretakers, and also at least one child under the age of 5 years or younger. So you have multiple children. You could have 10 children. If one of them is 5 years or younger, we could serve that family if we have the capacity. Next slide, please. So in the process of recovery, we want to engage our families, and a quote says it all there, nothing about me without me. This will be a process where families are heavily engaged in the START program, treatment services, things such as that. As you see, we want to be shared decision makings. We want to approach it with compassion, understanding, and hope for recovery, because that's our goal when working with these families. Next slide, please. Some data, and we've shared this before. I think that data about mothers is very compelling. You almost double the rate of sobriety than you would without this program, which we're very hopeful to implement and hopefully see that data here. Children entered out of home placement, that's foster care, at half the rate of children from a matched comparison group. So if we get children in substance abuse, and right now we have, looking at our data, I think it's like 86 children in care. 70% of those are in care, so that's roughly about 60. We can knock 30 of those out over the next 5 or 6 years. I think that would be great for our county, but most importantly for our families, because we're seeing families here, we're seeing them recover, we're seeing them being able to manage that substance use disorder. As you can see, and that's where your cost savings come in. If we don't have as many children in care, we may not need as many staff over time. We may not have to pay as much as board payments. We may not have to, pay as much on other expenses like clothes and things such as that. So over time, there will be in cost savings that won't be immediate, but we want to try to see that. As you can see, at 12 months post-interventions, this specifically talks about African-American children START. You could, remain free of out-of-home placement, 80% versus 56%. So next slide, please. So we talked about our dyad, and we'll talk about those roles there. The child welfare social worker, that's our staff that we have. We'll continue to assess the safety and ongoing risk. Just to make it aware, we're still going to have our policies and procedures that the state requires us to do. And our staff, always at the foremost of this, is the safety and of the children in the home. We're not going to compromise on that. We develop and monitor service plans, identify needs. The family mentor is one of the positions that's part of that START program. It's almost like peer support specialists. Those two go hand in hand. They'll work very closely with our child welfare staff, and you'll see some of the characteristics of that individual. Family mentor, someone in long-term recovery from substance abuse disorder, a year or more, and they'll be working with our families too. You'll see some of the things they'll be doing: transportation, drug screens, assessments, and those are individuals that we talked about who can pick up on some of those little nuances with our families if they may have some regressions that someone who doesn't have that lived experience may not be able to do. Next slide, please. Our social work supervisor, that's also one of our staff members. They'll be supervising that dyad, and they'll be doing what supervisors do, ensuring compliance with program, human resources, things such as that. Our family mentor supervisor, that is Easter Seals. They provide administrative support. They work together with our supervisor to ensure that we're administering those programs. Those staff are doing what they're needed to do as well. Next slide, please. Our service coordinator, this is a very important position because without that proper treatment for the family, this program does not work. And what they do is that they work in close coordination with our supervisors, social workers, our family mentor, to ensure that initial assessments gets completed, to ensure that appropriate levels of care are done for those families that we're working with, and also with crisis work and possible brief interventions to fill gaps. Next slide, please. So this is some of the shared decision-making that we'll be doing with our families in this program. Now, please, there's going to be a lot of acronyms, and you'll see them later. So that SDDM and SIM, if you could just take note of that, which you'll see it in future slides. But we have a very, detailed timeline when it comes to once we identify a start family and when we start putting interventions in. So you see that initial face-to-face meeting. That includes everyone that dyad I just talked about, including the supervisor and the family. So you see that when that happens, within 3 business days or 4 calendar days when we make that referral. So if we see a family and we've got space in the program when we do that referral, that meeting happens very quickly to try to go in there and assess those families' needs. So within 30 days, we align a treatment plan and to check on progress. That's much faster than what's happening with our current mental health services and substance abuse services for those who aren't in this program. So we're very excited about that. And we hope to have that done much sooner. We're working with Easter Seals, whom Port is a subsidiary of that. And we're going to be trying to utilize them if possible. But if not, we're linking, if say the family is already comfortable with another provider, linking with that provider and trying to get them back in and started very soon. So 30 days is the maximum. We want to try to get it earlier if possible, but we've got to stay within that 30-day timeline, 38 calendar day timeline for this program. And we've talked about this. We want to introduce START program to the family earlier. You see some of those, what it does, schedules a substance abuse disorder mental health assessment. We start drug testing. Getting parents to sign release forms because we need those in order to provider to tell us what the progress is and things such as that. But most importantly, ensures that a child safety plan is in place. Next slide, please. So we talked about that shared decision-making meeting, child and family team meetings, what those are. There'll be subsequent meetings, not just that first one, to talk about progress, services, monitoring the case with the entire dyad. We keep that we'll talk about, the good, the bad, and the ugly, things that are going well, things that aren't going well, and things that aren't going well at all, if that happens to be the case. So that's a minimum every 90 days. That can be, in shorter increments as needed, given upon the case, but that's just when we have to have them by. So hopefully we'll get in there and very soon we can start doing 90 days because we get these services in place and families accept those services and things are going well. So as you can see, why that is supporting the service plan and the delivery of those services. Next slide, please. So this is just describes a little bit of the case contacts, what's done by the particular dyad member. So our family mentor, this is our individual who has lived experience with child welfare and substance use disorder, going out to that home with that family, assisting with transportation and appointments. You see that first face-to-face visit occurs within 1 week of that shared decision-making meeting or START initial meeting, and occurs weekly after that. 2 visits a month must be in the home. So we need to go in there and see what's happening in that house. It can't be, hell, I'm over here, I got tied up, I'm at Food Line, meet me in the parking lot or something like that. We've got to be in that home, seeing them twice a month, this family mentor does. With 1 visit, including with the children and 1 unannounced. So there's some other details of those visits there as well. We're going to be, the social worker and the family mentors will be meeting separately except for the first visit. During a crisis, it'll be a joint visit, so we'll be having people in that home very regularly, even more so if we were just working with that family with our social worker ourselves. We're going to be in there seeing what's going on, getting a report back from the family mentor. Now, always regarding safety and any type of decisions where children may not be in the home will rely on us, but we're going to be relying on that family mentor to be reporting what they're seeing as well, almost like another set of eyes and collaterals there in that home. So after 90 days, if things are going well, it can go back to a minimum of twice per month, but that initial 90 days, we want to be in there very frequently to see what's going on. Next slide, please. So this is our social worker. We'll be continuing to make visits in accordance with policy. Right now in our in-home services programs, we have a risk assessment sheet that determines risk in the family. So it could be, if they're high risk, it could be weekly meetings. If they're moderate risk, it could be every other week. That's what the policy says with us now. But the START model has a little bit more for us, so we will go by that, whichever one is the greatest. Same thing, that visit for the social worker is the same as the family mentor. I won't go with that. You see weekly face-to-face meetings for 60 days, so we're going to treat all those like high risk. Even if ours was moderate, we're going to be in there a little bit more with these families. And then 2 visits per month during that time must occur in the home with the children present. So again, it can't say, hey, look, I'm just going to see the kids at school and go see mom or dad at their jobs. We got to be in the house, in the home. We'll be talking with the kids separate, from the parents, just to try to make sure that we're doing what we can to make sure that there's the risk and safety for those childs aren't elevated and those services that we're putting in place are being effective. So after 60 days, what you said, minimum twice per month. So if ours is still high risk after that, we're still going to be in there weekly. But if it's moderate risk and we do that, then, which most of the time this is what it's going to be because they will be making progress, we would go back to that twice per month. Minimum of 1 contact will be unannounced. And we always do collateral contact. So this will be outside of our family mentor. So checking on, we have to do at least 2 per month. So we can call neighbors. We can call the school with the teacher to see how things are going. We can call the, the provider to make sure that the parents are doing what they need to do. If the children are in with a therapist, we can talk with them. So there's other collaterals outside, even that family mentor and our staff member going into the house. We call other people to say, are you seeing things that are concerning you? And if so, tell us what you see when you see them and giving us details just to, check on children and ensuring their safety. Next slide, please. So in this program, drug screening is a big component. And as you can see, it's used to support abstinence from substance use. It helps us to monitor treatment progress, inform case planning, and provide documentation from court reports as well. Many of these cases will be in court. So one of the things that, in order to show abstinence, is a clean drug screen. So as you can see, they'll occur randomly, at least weekly, while in treatment. If they go through treatment, a minimum of every other week of random screens. Lab confirmation is recommended, which we will be doing. In the event, say we get a test and a parent has been tested negative and they return to use, then we're going to go back and start at the beginning. We're going to start testing them more regularly. And that is weekly. That is at the minimum. We could do it more often. Say that we do a test that week on a Monday and the parent's negative and the family mentor goes in on Wednesday and the parent seems under influence, we can request another test, to go and do that. So that again is just a minimum. When you see this, I don't want you to think like that's it. These cases all have different variables and different variances, and we're going to have to assess those as we work with the family in order to make sure that we're getting an accurate depiction of the parents or the caretaker's recovery in this process and the services. So, and I kind of said that on the last one. So next slide, please. So case closure in 6 months or until the parents exhibit at least 6 months of sustained sobriety, early recovery, and resolution of other safety risk concerns as has occurred before closing the case. So we're going to be in there in these meetings and these CFTs and our family mentors, just like any other case. We're going to be discussing this. We're going to be looking at the drug screens. We're going to be talking to their providers. We're going to be talking to the collaterals to see what improvements the families are making, ensuring that they're maintaining sobriety, they're following their treatment recommendations, doing our best to go what we've seen over those last at minimum 6 months, could be more, and to how we see for success going forward if we were to, remove ourselves DSS, which of course, we would still make sure they're with their service providers from that oversight of the case. So those are in-home cases. Those are children that we do not have in our custody. Those are children where abuse and neglect has been found, where we have not had to file for custody of that child. For our out-of-home cases, which is more referred to as foster care, we've had to file for custody. You can see that time as well. 6 months of sustained early recovery is required for reunification. So until the child can be reunified with that parent, they have to be in sustained early recovery for 6 months, and along with 90 days of continued services and sustained recovery after reunification before case closure. So we're not just going to say, 6 months sobriety, great, we're going to go ahead and put the children in your home, we're going to close out your case. Good luck with your services. Our social worker is going away for that support. Our family mentor will go away. But we're just going to throw this new element in your home while you're also trying to, go through your process of recovery. And we're going to think everything's going to be okay. It'll be a minimum of 90 days. It doesn't mean like 90 days, once it hits it, we're going to take the kids back out. That's just if everything goes right. It could be another 90 days. It could be 270 days. We just have to, probably not that long, because in these cases, things are going well. But there may be a little bump in the road to where, we have to kind of go in there and readdress some things, and we want to see some more sustained recovery after that before we would close the case. Next slide, please. So I want to, first and foremost, I'm the one that gets to come up here and talk about successes, about where we are with START. But I want to say, I'm just the spokesperson of this. There's been a lot of people at our department who's done a lot of great work in getting this program up and running. There's 5 other counties who are doing this, 2 that started later than us. But Craven County is in the position now, along with the 3 others, versus the 3 others that started at the same time, and the 2 after was buyers, to begin taking these cases. We would already be taking these cases if there wasn't a contract issue between the state and Child and Family Futures, whom I've spoke to you about in the past, whom is the overseeing entity of this program and monitors the fidelity of it and provides technical assistance such as that. So as you see, our family mentors, we had our first one in place on August 9th, our second one on September 1st. They've been with us for some time. You'll see some of the trainings and things they've taken. When we get them, we can't just roll them out. We went through it. We interviewed with Easter Seals for these individuals and also through assistance with Child and Family Futures with our applicants. So they've been through all that vetting process. Our service coordinator was interviewed and hired. That individual started August 18th. She's actually helping us some right now, because we don't have any START families, but helping us with our other cases, helping us with providing substance use assessment, treatment recommendations. So she's already kind of getting in that process with our cases and seeing what that entails before we have an actual START case. We're starting to identify cases. Both STARTs, we had 2 workers designated who will be working on these START cases, social work staff. We've identified those. They've been working with their family mentors, doing non-START activities, getting geared up for when we will start taking those first START cases. And of course, the START social work supervisor has been identified from the beginning. She's been here from the start. So has one of our social workers. When we started looking and doing this program almost 2 years ago, doesn't seem like 2 years ago. It seems about 6 months. But this is something that Craven County, we saw with our numbers and reporting to you. We were looking at this program before the state even started it, and then when they did, it kind of made us stop our process because they were doing a RFP for counties to apply. So we got held back by that, but we're here now. So our training, next slide, please, Robbie. I'm not going to read all of these, but it just kind of tells you the amount of training that they've had to go through since they've started to get on board with our practices, with treatment strategies, things such as that. So when they go in, we try to get them as well versed as possible to working with our families and helping this program be effective with them. Next slide, please, Robbie. So these are, back one more. So that's the training that's gone through for our family mentor supervisor and the service coordinator. Some of the same things. Next slide, please, Robbie. So this is our technical assistance with Child and Family Futures. We meet with them twice monthly to talk about matters. You can see that description of child and family futures. We will also be collecting data through UNC Chapel Hill School of Social Work. We've had our initial consultation on September 12th about how to do that, and we'll be working with them bi-monthly to ensure that we're capturing the data correctly. Next slide, please. So, our next technical assistance consultation is tomorrow. So after that is done, we hope we can start identifying some families and start referring them to this program. Remember, we will be doing one family per week. Right now we have capacity to get up to 20, and once we hit the 20, we're not going to be able to take any more. So very excited about this. Again, I want to say some names: Sherry Daniels, Deborah Walker, Jenny Cook, Patricia Luca, Janine Cormier, our social worker. We're been very fortunate to work with Easter Seals. They've been a good partner in this and trying to get this stood up. As I said, when we get on the call and I hear others and they're nowhere near as far as where we are when it comes to implementing this, and even the state will tell you that as well. We just couldn't be more excited about the work that's been put into this, and I think it goes to show how our staff want to try and help those families where we can to overcome substance use disorder and try to help keep their families together and their children. Because like I said in the previous times before you, that these are Craven County families. These are children that I always say families do a much better job of raising children than the government does. And even as families sometimes that are going through some issues at that particular time, but if we can try to help that family heal, if we can try to go ahead and keep those children with their parents, and sometimes we're breaking generational issues such as this and curbing that. I think that will be a huge benefit to our county and to keeping those families intact if children can stay there with their parents. This will also help us in cases where we're gonna bring services at a more advanced pace than we would other families. So if they're not willing to take it, many of these cases with these types of issues are in court, and if they don't take it, or if they're not doing what they're going, or if they're not abiding by the treatment that we're giving them, it's going to show quickly. Doesn't mean we're not going to doesn't mean we're not going to stop working with them. But this is information that's going to be presented to the court. It's not going to be, oh, well, I'm not going to be able to see a service provider for 2 months. No, you're going to be able to get treatment very quickly. And we're going to see, are you going to take that up, or are you not going to take that up? So we're excited about this. I know I've said that a lot, but we think it's a new way of doing business. We think it's going to be a successful way, and we're excited to start at this level. And hopefully many years in the future, long after I'm gone, this will still be going on. And it'll be a way where we as Craven County took the initiative to take a different approach with some of our families and trying to make improvements upon our communities where, I'm just going to be quite honest, others haven't had that opportunity to do that yet. Hopefully the state is going to be rolling this out throughout the whole state. I'm not big on piloting things, but this is one where we jumped on, especially when it comes with the state, but where we see real potential in helping families and helping, decrease some of that burden, on our county government and trying to support families in this type of situation. We really see this as putting some of those interventions up front and being proactive instead of reactive in some of these things, which I think that we could probably do a better job in other programs, but that's above my pay grade to make decisions. But again, we're very excited about it. We have a budget amendment here for you in the amount of $420,000, which the state said that's the funding they will be granting us for this program for the period of October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2026. There's no additional match for it, no county match. What we have to do is budget the funds, and when we expend those funds, we will report that on our 1571, which is our monthly drawdown, and we'll pull those funds right back into revenue, so it'll just be a pass-through fund. We will actually be, I will say, it will actually be covering some reimbursement at a little bit higher level than what we are with our 2 social work staff and our supervisors, so it's actually going to reduce county funds just a little bit with this extra reimbursement. So,
questions for Mr. Merritt?
All right, a couple of things. You mentioned early on in all of that, we only have 86 kids in foster care right now. Mm-hmm. That's phenomenal, because since I've been sitting here, it was 100 and up.
Yes, we've you know, when I've been here, I think we got as high as 130. So we've been working really hard in trying to get those, adoptions through. We're working in court and trying to get those cases move faster. So we're glad to see those numbers going down, and we hope to continue to do. And we'll look at.
I am too. The other thing I was going to ask you, how many babies are being born on substances currently a month?
I'd have to look at my report. I don't have that in front of me, but I see anywhere from 3 to 7.
That's right
now.
That's been staying consistent.
Yeah, that's been staying pretty consistent. 1 month we'll have 2, and then the next month we'll have 8. So, but I think what you've seen, I don't have those numbers in front of me, and we'll be getting those December numbers in January. I'll put that in your report. But we kind of went like this, I think, and we got up to the high 70s, and then we've started to go down a little bit, from looking at it from a calendar year perspective. So I think there's some progress being made there as well. And that's just not a testament to our agency. I know the sheriff has done a lot of work there. There's been RAI and a lot of other efforts by many other organizations. You just happen to ask me a question while I'm up here. So that is something that, we're proud to work with all those entities, our local municipality law enforcement officers, in order to try and address this matter when it comes to substance abuse, and especially with those, children that are born positive.
Absolutely. And what you said about the other counties, about Craven County being ahead of the other counties, I was going to mention that as well, because when I discuss it with commissioners from other counties, they either A, don't know about the program, or B, started before us and are not as far along as we are. So I want to thank everybody for doing all that hard work and getting us here, because this is really important, because it's critically important that we're not just pro-life when the baby's in the womb, but that we're taking care of these children after they're born. And this is one way that we can take care of those children after they're born.
Yes, this is a way that we can take care of those children, that we will have interventions more quickly for those children, and hopefully we can catch parents. And like I said before, when they're ready for recovery, I see cases, and we've done reviews where you've seen some tragic things happen to children when we're not involved, and families will go into the emergency room, or they'll come in and say, "Hey, I need treatment," and we don't have anywhere to go. We don't have anything for you to do. I know the county's made a big investment there. We try to utilize those beds and things such as that. So we do have we have a parent in our case who says we've been working for them. It's kind of take one step forward, one step back, and they say, "Hey, look, I'm ready to go to treatment," and we can say, "Hey, look, we've got beds. The county is available for you. We're going to go ahead and start making calls. The service coordinator could help us, even if they're not working with a START case. They've been working on some of that now, so we can catch them at that moment, because it's a very fleeting moment, and get them the services that they need, and hopefully start that process and road to recovery to where they make those changes needed, not only for themselves but for their family."
So the individual have to come to you. You don't take people when someone refers another person. Do you investigate that?
Well, all of our investigations are done by referral, Commissioner Smith. So if someone has suspected abuse, neglect, dependency, then they would call our office, and we would take that report.
I thought you said someone would say, come to you and say that they're ready.
Oh, well, I'm talking about someone that's already on our caseload. Okay. Yeah, someone that's already on our caseload. Now, if someone came to our office and they're not with us, of course, we would try to tell them resources, but it's not anything that, we could really do a lot more to help them. We would try to send them to the appropriate resources. We're not just going to turn someone away, even if they don't have children. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that I know in my work, you work with families, and the children sometimes don't go back, to the caretakers whom they were removed from. They may call a year later and ask, and we would always say, well, here's some resources for you. We wouldn't just say, hey, we're not working with you anymore, good luck. But those ones I was talking about are, say we've got a family that we're working with and abuse and neglect's been found, and substance abuse is one of, if not the only concerns, and they come to us after they've maybe been going to, say, intensive outpatient treatment where they're going 3 times a week, but they're still testing positive. And they said, this just isn't working for me. I need to go and get an inpatient. And so we would say, okay, we're going to work and try to get you that. And we're going to try to get you going today, not a week, because by the time that week goes, or a day or two, they could change their mind. We want to get you right then, get you in the car, and take you. So,
removal of children.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish.
Removal of children from the caregiver.
Yes.
Now you do that immediately
Well, we have to look. We look at
with investigation.
Yeah. Well,
If some-
yeah. If we find that there's a safety factor where children cannot remain in that home, the first thing we're going to do is ask the parent for a plan. We're going to say, "Sir and or ma'am, we've got these issues that these children can't stay in your home. It may not be substance abuse. It could be physical abuse. It could be sexual abuse. I just want to say in general." And, we'll tell them. And if they're, and, if they say they come to understanding, yes, we're going to ask them whom someone that you can recommend. And we're going to go up and we're going to get that person's name, date of birth, social security numbers. We're going to go to their house. We're going to have some real tough conversations. We're going to set up a supervision plan, to determine what level, if any, the parents will agree to. We may say, parents, at this time, we need you to only have supervised visits outside the home where they can't be outside, and that person would have to agree to that. But if we can't get that, then what? And the parents want to agree to it, or if they agree to it and call us up 3 days later and they can't give us anyone else, and those safety factors are still in place, which most likely they are, we're going to go ahead and file a non-secure custody order along with our juvenile petition in order to get those children put in our custody. When we file a petition,
From the beginning of the conversation you just started until you remove a child from the home, how long does it take?
how long could it take if we started to have that? And with that parent, it just depends. How much information that we had to gather when we found it, where we have enough evidence to be able to go for
weeks or months or days.
Oh no, it could be the same day. It could be.
It could be the same day.
Yeah.
How long?
It could be. We could go out on a case and go see that there's immediate safety factors right then, and we could start talking with that parent right that initial home visit. I mean, we take custody of children the exact same day that we go out. Like if we go, say I'll give you an example. We have a child that's non-ambulatory. They have a non-accidental fracture. Say they've got a broken femur. That child can't crawl. No one's. We're asking what happened. No one can tell us what happened. Well, we look at the doctor. When did it happen, doctor? He gives us a period of 3 days. Who was there? Well, mom lives in the home, dad lives in the home, grandma lives in the home, uncle lives in the home. No one can tell us what happened. Most likely if they can't come up with another plan, we're going to have to take that child into care because we're not going to leave a child with unexplained broken bones in the home. Yeah.
Commissioner Mason.
I think you answered my question on referrals. It can be anyone that refers the family to the START program. And that doesn't have to be law enforcement or social work.
Well, Commissioner Mason, what these families will be those that we're already working with. So with the Child Protective Services report, the law states that anyone suspecting abuse, neglect, or dependency is required to call our office, and we would take that report and screen it, and then we will become involved, and we would see if there's someone with a substance use disorder whom we're working with and identify them, and see if we have capacity with one child 5 and under, and then start that internal referral process.
This is actually a secondary screen from when they've gotten into the system.
Well, it kind of is a secondary screen. We're screening just for this program and to see if we have capacity. We're still doing our normal child protective services process to where we're assessing for just abuse, neglect, dependency in itself. This is just another level, a higher level of service to see if we have the capacity to be able, and with those with substance use disorder, to be able to try to offer them. Right.
So they couldn't walk in the door and say, I think I have a problem. I need to get into some kind of a program, and they'd be referred to START.
No, we couldn't do that.
And then you alluded to risk factors within the home. What determines the risk factor?
I don't have the sheet right in front of me, but it talks about age of the parents, number of children. It's a question, and then you rate it, so 1 or 0 or 0, 1, 2, and then you
environmental factors more than it is the individual.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
That's all I am.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Well, I'm going to clarify something just for the general public who are going to be watching this later. If a child is assumed to be an immediate danger, you're not messing around 3 or 4 days waiting for it to go through the courts, correct?
No. As soon as we know of immediate danger, it may be something where, like Commissioner Miss, I gave an example of Commissioner Smith that very day. We're making plans when we know of that in order to
Okay.
Do that.
Okay. Fewer words. If a child is in immediate danger, you take the child out as fast as possible.
Yes.
That's what I want.
When we have that information, yes.
I wanted to
As soon as it comes to our attention.
general public that a child at risk is not staying there.
Commissioner Howard.
And just a point of clarification, the START program targets families with kids that are 5 and under. So if the family had a 6 or 7-year-old, they would not be eligible for the program.
Has to be one child, 5. And they could have a 6 and 7-year-old, but if that's the age of their youngest child, no. This is,
The program wouldn't help the family with a 6-year-old
it would help.
unless they had less than 5.
Yeah, it would help, but this is the criteria that the state gave us. So this are the families that we're targeting.
Gotcha.
I mean, yes.
Okay, for no other questions, do I have a motion? We're being asked to approve a budget amendment in the amount of $420,000 for the Sobriety Treatment and Recovery Team's START program.
So moved.
Second motion.
We have a motion, second.
Seconds.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Mason,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones, Chairman Bucher.
Yes. Okay, the motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Merritt.
You can see the light.
Item number 4, Social Services, Clayton Gaskins. Good morning, Mr. Gaskins. Welcome.
Good morning, folks. So I'm here today representing the Aging Board. And you guys should have a packet of information. So back, if you remember when I presented the first budget in May, we were using the funds from the previous year. We did not have the National Grant Award notice yet, and we usually get that by the end of June. And June passed, July, and we never got it. So I think it was around the 1st of September that we were notified that Craven County actually received additional funds, which was unexpected. So we got an additional amount in the amount of $101,667. So we had a couple of different meetings. Tanya Cedars and Tanya Jordan Davis from DSS pulled the providers together and met with them. And what we have come up with, if you're looking at page, the DAAS 731 up the top right corner, over to the left, that'll give you the new amounts for the providers. And these are, Commissioner Mason, these are providers that provide services for clients that are 60 years or older, just so you know. We were also asked, so in our region, there were some counties that were not as fortunate as we, and they took cuts in their budget. So we were asked if we would be willing to surrender any portion of this $101,000 back to help take care of the counties in our region. Again, we met with providers and discussed that. The amount that we've come up with that we're going to keep in our county is $73,688 of that near $102,000. We would be returning to the AAA to be dispersed within our region $27,979. This does affect the general fund because of the match that's required. And that match of these providers, there are 2 external providers from Craven County, which is Coastal Community Action in Newport. They provide the Senior Companion Program here in our county, and also the City of Havelock with the congregate meals there. So do y'all have any questions about anything? That's kind of all I've got. Again, we're not used to getting extra money. So going forward, though, we have been told next year we will should expect to see the same amount. So this will give the providers a chance through the coming months to plan for adding services, adding folks that need services on their waiting lists, things of that nature.
You'll note the funding is 90% federal state with 10% county match. So we're only in this for 10%. Board will be asked to approve the HCCBG budget for fiscal year 25-26 as recommended by the Aging Planning Board.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Mason?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Chairman Bucher?
Yes.
Thank y'all. Have a good day.
Thank you very
I
much.
make, I make one comment before he leaves.
Bill.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I happen to be on this board, the Aging Planning Board, and I think it's important that we as a group and community understand the particular care that these folk give. Last year, we had a shortfall within the system, and the different agencies decided to cut back, readjust their funds so that everybody could have good, strong program. This year, as he just shared, they had an overamount. Rather than just using this money haphazardly, we could have found a way to use the money. They decided to help someone that had shortfalls, that they didn't get the amount they had gotten last year. And I think that speaks so well of this group. I think people need to know that you're careful to make sure people are getting services that need services, and you're not trying to waste money to put it where it still can be spent.
And if we had not helped those other counties, they were looking at having to turn away services.
Right.
We're already receiving services. So it gives them time to plan for the next budget year to find their budget or their funds that they need elsewhere.
Thank you. I apologize, but I think that's right.
It's fine. Thank you. Okay, item number 5, Human Resources, request for personnel resolution amendment to pay plan. Ms. Amber Parker.
Thank you. Give me a second to make sure my legs work before I got up here. Morning, Chairman, Commissioners. I have for your consideration the minor revisions recommended for the personnel resolution, Article 4, the pay plan, as a result of the classification and compensation study implementation plan approved by the board on October 20th. Specifically, the classification title of jailer is recommended to be revised to detention officer. Jail is recommended to be revised to detention center, and educational incentive and pay rate policies that reference a 2.4% or one step or a 4.8% or two step are recommended to have the percentages removed to keep the policy language consistent with allowing for the slight variances caused by rounding. Additionally, the salary of trainee, administration of the pay plan, and the pay rate policies are recommended to be revised to remove references to a one-step increase at the completion of the probationary period, as that practice ended with the 2018 salary study implementation. The sections of the personnel resolution, Article 4, the pay plan recommended for revision, include Section 3, administration of the pay plan, Section 6, salary of trainee, Section 7, pay rates and promotion, demotion, transfer, and reclassification, and Section 15, jailer educational incentive. The revised policies are included for your consideration.
Okay, any questions for Ms. Parker?
I have one, Mr. Chairman. So going forward, where's the reference to pay rate policies, the 2.4 and 4.8?
So those are included in the promotion, demotion policies. Basically what they state is that with the grade and steps, there is essentially a 2.4% between each step, but over years when we put in rounding, it may vary a little bit. So what we look at is the whole from step 1 to step 30, there's a very minimal variance. But each year when we adjust the pay plan, it's very difficult to keep those percentages at exactly 2.4% or 4.8% with rounding. So what this does, it just takes those percentages out and says a one step or a two step, and it allows for that little bit of variance. But for the most part, it's included in the, where it talks about promotion, and also it talks about in merits, where it references the two step or the one step. So we're just recommending the policy language say one step or two step rather than 2.4% and 4.8%. Did that answer?
You good?
Yeah, I mean, I just, going forward, we're just so accustomed to the 2.4 or 4.8. So going forward, when we discuss it, I mean, there is going to be some variance in what you're telling me.
Well, it's like 4.79999 or 2.41. So, I mean, it's just over time, the rounding. It's not exactly that. I think practically, Commissioner Joe, Vice Chairman Jones, it's 2.4 to 4.8 between each of the steps and grades on the chart. So it's still practically on the sheet that way.
Still practical.
Yeah.
Okay.
The smidgen. Any questions?
But the actual salary is going to be in an annex that shows all the steps for the given calendar year. Right?
Correct.
Any other questions? Sheriff, you no longer have a jail. Aren't you happy about that? You now have a detention center.
It's still staying up there, Punch.
Slow. Okay. I need a motion to approve the recommended personnel resolution amendment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 6, appointments. Under pending, you will notice Craven Aging Planning Board, Craven County Clean Sweep Committee, Craven County Highway 70 Corridor Committee, Havelock Board of Adjustment, alternate ETJ, Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, Mental Health, under 21, and Volunteer Agricultural District, District 6. Those will be coming up. Under current, Craven County Health Board, Adrienne Earl is an optometrist seeking reappointment. I serve with her on the health board. I would nominate her. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, she'll be approved by acclamation. Firemen's Relief Fund Board of Trustees, Daniel Murphy seeks reappointment, Township 8.
I recommend that he be reappointed.
We have a motion to reappoint Mr. Daniel Murphy. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, he will be appointed by acclamation. Havelock Board of Adjustment. The board is requested to review the Havelock ETJ list, which is you should have attached to your packet, to nominate for appointment to fill the alternate ETJ seat vacated midterm by Jackie Palmer. Do we have anybody recommended for that spot?
Not at this time, Chairman, but I'll be working on that.
Okay. We'll pass on that one for now and look at that maybe at our next meeting. Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. Blake Larson seeks reappointment.
I'll recommend him.
Got a motion to nominate Blake Larson. Any others? He will be appointed by acclamation. Kaylee Searseed seeks reappointment to her first term.
I recommend that she be reappointed.
Okay, Ms. Searcy's been nominated and will be reappointed by acclamation. Robert Holton seeks reappointment, police chief or designate. Anybody you want to nominate?
I'll nominate Officer Holton.
Okay, Mr. Holton's been nominated. Any others? He will be appointed by acclamation. And lastly, Ricky Meadows seeks reappointment for the Recreation Advisory Council. I will nominate Mr. Meadows. Are there any others? He will be appointed by acclamation. Upcoming Craven County Health Board, Eddie Games and Donald Whitley. For the Health Board, Fire Tax Commissioners Board, Jason Simpson from Fort Monmouth. Juvenile Crime Prevention, Jennifer Knight, for Youth and Family Advocate. And Southeast Economic Development Partnership, Owen Andrews. So we will look at those in a future meeting. That concludes our appointments. Next is the county attorney's report.
No report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Next is the county manager's report. Mr. Veit?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I'm having Robbie pull a document up real quick I wanted to share with you. I was made aware of this on Friday. Thought it was actually some really good news. So each year, the total recycling numbers are collected by the state, and they're put out in September. We were made aware this information was out. So this would actually be from the 23-24 year. And Craven County ranked number 1 in common household recyclables per capita. I don't believe we've ever been number 1 before. So I was talking with Stephen about it. This was a pretty big deal. And if you look at the difference in 1 and 2, it's almost 12 pounds per person more in Craven County than number 2, which is Catawba County. If you look at the right column where it says total public recycling per capita, we're actually 11th at 208.3 pounds per individual. There's some other recycling programs that you see in more urban areas that we just simply don't have here. And there's also things, Stephen, you were talking about, some hazardous material recycling and things like that you find in some other areas that we don't have. But to be number 1 in common household items, that's the things you put in your recycle bin at home, and we come by and pick up once a month. I just wanted to point this out. This shows that the program is working, and we are number 1 in the state. There is no award. I already asked Stephen, do we get an award for being number 1? And the answer is no. You get to look at this on camera. So that's about as good as it gets. We were talking and joking when Stephen first became solid waste director. Commissioner Mark was disappointed at the time because we had dropped from number 13 to number 21. So in honor of Commissioner Mark, we're number 1 up there. So Commissioner Mason, I know that was something that was really important to him. So anyway, thank y'all for the time on that. We'll make sure we share this data with you via email so you have it and you can review all the different counties in the state where they are.
It's good news.
I wanted to, and I wish she was here today, Kelly Walker-Cuthrell, still getting used to saying that last name, is our CARTS director. Kelly will be retiring at the end of November. Kelly's been with the county for over 30 years, starting out in social services, actually, and working her way up through the ranks of CARTS. Kelly's been a great Team Craven member over the years. I've been so proud of her with where she's taken the CARTS program from when she took over about 8 or 9 years ago. She's got big shoes to fill. I will point out one small story. I'm always good for a story. That when we were in the throes of Hurricane Florence across the street, we needed to put a team together that could take some of the larger issues and start compartmentalizing them and creating a process where we're starting to get out of the real emergency and get into start the recovery phase. And Kelly was the one volunteer that raised her hand to take on logistics. And we realized quickly that's what she does every day, and that's why she was so good at it. And she sat in that room with us for about a week, managing every request that came in, making sure it hit the right bucket once it moved forward. So I've always been very thankful for Kelly stepping up at that time. But it's an honor that she chose to serve with us, and I'm going to miss her a lot and wish her well in retirement. So end it there. And last thing, just want to remind the board, next week we will be closed Thursday, November 27th, and Friday, November 28th for the Thanksgiving holiday. So I hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving and look forward to get back to work in December.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Veit? Okay. Moving on, the commissioners' reports. Who would like to go first?
I don't mind. I'll go first. You're looking at me, Chairman, so I'll take the helm. I do have a town hall tonight. The sheriff will be there. Representative Tyson will be there, and a representative from the Department of Transportation will be there. I don't know, maybe our 14th, 15th in the last few years. Usually the sheriff's involved, but sometimes not. So welcome all Craven County citizens, but particularly of District 6. So it'll be at the Carolina Pines Township 6 Fire Department. Always a full house. Thank you, Chad, for helping nail down DOT for me. Obviously, with the construction going on, that's a constant concern of my constituents. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone who participated in the Veterans Day Veterans Lunch on the 8th of November at Temple Baptist. The room was full. We served an awful lot of people. It was a nice chance for folks to meet our new commissioner who hadn't already, Tim Mason, with it. And it was nice to honor LaVey Wallace Singleton. We received a very nice thank you notice from her. It's the first time I received a thank you note for a resolution honoring someone's service. And former Commissioner George Lehner was Veteran of the Year. And it was nice to see him recognized. So that's all, sir.
Yeah, there were, it was a nice turnout, but it became obvious that those of us who are I hate to say this, but aging out. The group was largely senior citizens, which kind of makes sense, but there were some young retirees and veterans there as well. So it was a good event. Like you.
Yes, thank you.
Some young ones like you.
And me.
I had a excellent ride around. Got to learn a lot about my new district and enjoyed it very much. And I think we have an event with the sheriff in Fairfield Harbor on the 18th. So that's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Hunt.
No report.
Okay.
I know.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes. I'm planning a town hall for December 9th, and it's going to be at the Stanley White Recreation Center, 601 3rd Avenue. It begins at 6 o'clock. We have from 6 to 8. We expect to be out of there by 7:30 at the latest. So please come. A town hall, my District 3, and others if you choose to come, at Stanley White Recreation Center, December 9, 6 until possibly 8 o'clock. And I thank you for looking this way when you talk about the young folk. I'm not a veteran, but I'm the widow of a veteran. So, and this is
you would be welcome.
And I was not there, but I know you were talking about me when you said the youth.
Yeah, we had some widows there. That was good. Okay. The only comment I will make is we also did a ride around in District 7, primarily in James City, and this is sad to say, but the highlight of that ride around was going to the recycling center that GFL has in James City. I'll tell you, it's amazing how much crap comes into that place every day, and they have to load it up, take it off of one truck, put it on other trucks, sort it. Obviously, the recycling goes on one truck, and then it gets hauled to where? Jacksonville. And the just trash obviously goes to the landfill. It's an impressive operation. That's all I will say. I think all of us who were there for the first time were kind of amazed. From the street, it doesn't look that big, but it's a big operation. So, and thank you for arranging that statement. There are no other comments. We will have a recess while we prepare for a closed session.
I have to make a motion for closed session. So moved.
Second.
Like, we have to have the attorney tell us what we're going to be.
The statutory citation is 143-311A6 to discuss personnel.
And now a motion.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We will go into closed session in a few minutes.